this, and we've got 5 right-wing players here to talk about that could potentially come in January or even further on in the summer. And obviously we know right wing we've got Brennan Johnson there, but he's pretty much the only natural right winger that we have in the squad. We brought in Wilson Odebear that played there a couple of times, but he's more of a natural left-sided player. So we've got Sonny, we've got Odebear, we've got Yang Min Hyuk, we've got Timo Werner, who are all natural left wingers. And then we've only got...
Yang Min Hyuk's actually been playing more on the right this year.
He has, but I mean, he is a natural left-sided player though. And he's also 18 years of age and never played this side of the pond. So, I mean, you're going to have to bide your time with him. So, I mean, we do have a very heavy left-sided attack and, you know, only Brennan Johnson really on the right side. So I think it is imperative that we bring in someone that can really fight Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side.
Definitely.
And we've got 5 players here to go through, and the first one is going to be Antoine Semenyo of Bournemouth, 28 million market value, 24 years of age. And I was impressed with him last season, and I think this year he's really taken it up a new notch.
Yeah, I think he's been fantastic. I think 5 goals so far in the Premier League this season, but I think you've seen when Bournemouth play, a lot of their attacks go through him. He's very much a much relied upon player in their attack, a very good dribbler as well. You look at the stats of how he's been playing as a winger this season. You look at the take-ons, very high, very good carrying the ball. He's really good at the ball with his feet and driving at players and competing them. That's exactly what Spurs need. His shot creating actions are good. His touches in the attacking third and passes received means he's getting in good positions as well. Could improve maybe his key passes and assist numbers, and shot creating actions. Probably could do a bit more with that. But definitely in terms of a player who gets on the ball and commits players, he's a really good asset for that, and he's definitely improving his final third output as well this season.
Yeah, he really is, and he's a player of the highest quality, improving every year. I would love to see him through the door at Tottenham Hotspur, but I mean, January is a bit far-fetched to bring him in my opinion. Maybe it is one for the summer, like we took Dom Solanke last year for 65 million. I wonder how much it would cost to get him out of Bournemouth. Do you reckon it's a similar fee to Dom Solanke, a bit less?
Probably a similar fee, I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Who's next? So next up is a player that we've been linked with over the past couple of years in Takefusa Kubo of Real Sociedad, market value of 40 million, 23 years of age. He's a player that is, not the biggest player, but he's a box of tricks. He's fast, and he can put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, and he's got a low centre of gravity. He's very good in, he's kind of omnidirectional, go left, go right. He's really good at kind of committing players. The stats are quite strong with him. He's quite good in all facets when it comes to being a winger, apart from the fact that this season he hasn't gotten any assists, albeit his expected assists are really high, so maybe it's his teammates letting him down as to why he hasn't gotten any assists. One of the better dribblers in Europe, it says here, with unbelievable dribbling ability. Gets on the ball in dangerous positions, very good at carrying the ball, key passes as well, very strong, shot creating actions. So, I mean, he's playing for a very good Sociedad team who do like to play attacking, high-pressing football as well. But obviously, there are question marks whether, physically he's quite similar to Brian Hill, a bit shorter, a bit smaller. Does he have the physicality to compete in the Premier League? But, if he does it in the La Liga, could it translate potentially? I think...
We said that about Brian Hill.
Yeah, but he was never as good as Kubo was in La Liga. But Kubo this season, in terms of just bare face numbers, goals and assists, hasn't been that strong. I think only 3 goals and no assists. So is there a reason for that? Maybe his output in the final third decision making needs to improve.
Brian Hill actually has more goal contributions than Kubo this season.
There you have it. But I think Kubo's been a fairly consistent performer over the last few seasons. And statistically, he's a very strong performer. So definitely one to look out for.
Next up, we're going to look at Tyler Dibling of Southampton having a real breakout year for the club sitting at the bottom of the league. But he has been a standing and a shining light for Southampton. 18 years of age, 22 million market value. Surely he'll be on the move soon because he's a player of real talent. I don't think it'll be in January because I think he'll probably want to stay just to help them with their relegation fight. But in the summer, they look dead set to go down. Surely he makes a move in the summer.
Yeah, I'll be shocked if he's still at Southampton in the summer, to be honest. And he's been a real shining light for them. Such a broad, strong runner. He reminds me of kind of, not in terms of how his quality, but in terms of his physical profile, definitely reminds me a bit of Gareth Bale when he started to fill in. Very broad shoulders, very strong runner, very hard to muscle off the ball when he's in full flight. And I think he's got the physicality to be a kind of Gareth Bale running style. Obviously, quality-wise, he's got a good left foot, but he's only 18, so he's still got a lot of improving to do. Statistically, I mean, the stats aren't great on him in terms of how good he is passing and getting assists and stuff. He is playing for the worst team in the league. What is quite strong, even for struggling side, is his take-ons, his carries. So he's extremely good at the ball at his feet, and that means individually, even though Southampton are playing very badly, him individually is still doing quite an effective job when he's got the ball at his feet. He's kind of being a one-man army at times, and I think the stats are showing that.
He's versatile as well.
Yeah, can play in a few different positions. I don't know whether it's just because he's 18 and he's kind of just been told to play a few different positions, or when the longer he plays, he's going to be there. I think he will be a winger. Maybe similar to how Bale used to play a wing fullback when he was younger, then became just an unbelievable winger.
But I think he's even filled in the 10. He's filled in up front. He's filled in so many different players.
Yeah, it's true. I think he's going to be a star in the making, albeit the stats maybe don't show it. I think he's going to be a real big player in the future. So I think he's one to watch out for.
Next up, we're going to look at Johan Bakayoko of PSV, 40 million market value, 21 years of age. And for that age as well, he is quite experienced. He's got himself into the Belgium setup. He's also played Champions League football. He's been starting for PSV for the last couple of years and produced numbers. I mean, I've been really impressed whenever I've seen him play. I go back to a game against Arsenal, I think it was last season in the Champions League, and I thought he just ripped him to shreds that day. And he's a player that is really strong. I think he looks a lot older than he actually is. He can take it past the man. He's a box of tricks, and he's got quality as well. I think he's a real top player.
Yeah, the only thing for him at the moment is this season, for one reason or another, it hasn't quite maybe exploded in the numbers like he threatened to. Last season, he had 21 goal contributions in all competitions. After halfway through this year, he's only on 6. So for some reason, those numbers have dropped off. But when you're looking at his underlying numbers, still pretty strong. I think he's pretty strong at everything, really. Good at dribbling. Also, his expected assists are higher than his actual assist numbers, so suggests again he's creating the chances that aren't being put away. His dribbling's good, carries are good, key passes and short creating actions are really strong. So he is doing a lot of very good things, and he is doing all the stuff that you want your winger to do, especially a winger that in our system that you'd want him to do. Also, rumours that he could be available for as little as 30 million euros, which would be, I think, a very good gamble to do for Tottenham. But are we worried about his drop-off in overall numbers to last season? Maybe that's putting some teams off.
Yeah, for me, no. Just because his underlying stats, like you showed, I mean, are still very, very strong. And he's such a young player. He's 21 years of age. You can't it's not going to be monstrous numbers every year. He's still a very young player, applying his trade, learning his game. So he's one that I would love to bring in. And I think he's one that's attainable in January as well. And then last but not least, we're going to look at Maghnes Akliouche of Monaco, 40 million market value, 22 years of age, another player who's having a bit of a breakout season. I've seen him play for Monaco actually a couple of times this season. Very aggressive player. Yeah,
and he's actually, I was looking at some of his stats, and if you profile him as a defensive winger, really strong in the defensive numbers. He's in the top percentiles for tackles made, tackles, interceptions, dribblers challenged as well. So he really digs in for the team, and that's obviously something that Tottenham value a lot. But he also gets quite strong attacking numbers as well. Decent with his shot creating actions and take-ons, crosses, carries into the final third. Well, his take-ons are actually a bit below average, but when it comes to his assist numbers, his XG numbers, also pretty strong for a young player. And I think he's one that could really come in and think would thrive in this high-pressing system, charging players down, making those challenges. And obviously Monaco have been really great in the Champions League, and they've surprised a lot of people, and I think it's players like him that have been the reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, his goal contributions numbers aren't the greatest, but he is 22 years of age, 4 assists and 2 goals in the French league this season.
3 and 6 in the Champions League
3
as well,
and 6.
so he's been quite decent in the Champions League.
Fair. But out of those 5 players, Akliouche, Bakayoko, Tyler Dibling, Kubo, and Semenyo. What are you saying?
I think Bakayoko would be my number one if we can get. I think also it just makes sense in terms of the price he's available. I think it'd be worth the gamble. I think also, I think right now, I mean, I'd like Tyler Dibling, but I think we need players right now to really be an upgrade or a real competition for Brennan. So I think maybe Akliouche. I think he would probably be my second pick. Kubo's up there, but I don't know, just something tells me I'm not sure how good it would be for us. I mean, he does play in a high intensity system in Sociedad, so maybe he'd be used to it. But as well, this season's also had a bit of a drop off. I think I really like the thought of Akliouche. I think off the ball, I think it would really suit our style.
For me, I agree with you. It's Johan Bakayoko. I wanted him last summer. I made that quite clear, and we never got him, obviously. And I think he's one that can come in here and now and make an impact. He's an unbelievable 1v1 dribbler, and that is what we need. We so desperately need that to add to our repertoire of wingers. And I think he's someone that will come in and really challenge Brennan Johnson for that right wing spot, if not just come in as a full-out starter straight away above Brennan Johnson. So I'd love to see Johan Bakayoko, and failing that, I think Antoine Semenyo would be probably my second choice. I think he comes in Premier League experience, doing it week in, week out at the moment for Bournemouth. And I think he's another one that can come and hit the ground running. However, I don't think he is attainable in January. But if we don't sign one in this January transfer window, I think he's one for the summer that I'd like us to really go for. But that is our right wing targets. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Out of those 5 right wingers, which one would you like to go for? And if we haven't mentioned the one that you're looking at, let us know your thoughts